What's good about the movie that we're discussing today is that it's one of our greatest living filmmakers, giving us a throwback pulpy noir thriller with palpably tense sequences and formal brilliance. What's even better is that it's actually a half comedy and character study of a flawed misanthropic assassin who is both a proxy for us and a mouthpiece for Fincher himself, and denying his own humanity to survive the 21st century gig economy, and wondering, when was my last nice, quiet drowning? This is David Fincher's The Killer, which is now streaming on Netflix, which is crazy to me. I have seen this movie 3 times now, twice in theaters. I've been itching to talk about it, and I was thinking about doing a spoiler review for it, but it's not really a spoiler-heavy film, and it's come to my attention that though it has seemed to be like the it girl of film Twitter this week, a lot of people haven't heard a ton about this film, and I honestly think Netflix has done an okay job marketing it, but it is a shame that it didn't get a wider theatrical release. So it goes, if it's playing near you, I highly recommend it, but it is nice that we have access to it at home on Netflix now. But this is based on a French graphic novel series of the same name and was adapted by Andrew Kevin Walker, who also wrote David Fincher's Seven. There were so many green flags going into this. And I think the ultimate test for critics this month is to review this film without using the words precise, calculating, cold, methodical, razor sharp, something I will probably fail myself because they just so perfectly capture this film, not just from a technical standpoint, but as David Fincher is a career perfectionist himself, and we'll get into that. But those words also describe our titular killer, or at least how he'd like to convince us and himself that he conducts himself. So let's set the scene. After a kick-ass opening credits sequence, the first 20 minutes of this is this self-serious, platitudinous monologue about stick to your plan, anticipate, don't improvise. He's a totally emotionless killer who has gotten his 10,000 hours. He's a professional.
This is what it takes.
You could meet somebody who really loves you.
What you must commit yourself to.
And then he fucks up. He misses. And in the time that it takes him to get back to his hideout in the Dominican Republic, someone close to him has been hurt, which spurs a revenge quest that he insists isn't personal. I mean, it is categorically hilarious that the entire time he's being the messiest bitch in the assassin game on a personal vendetta and is like, I'm so organized, no empathy. David Fincher film. Not surprising that it has a very twisted sense of humor, but this film particularly is filled to the brim with these tongue-in-cheek, wry one-liners. The killer himself is very funny in his internal monologue. The top contenders being, for me, when was my last nice quiet drowning, of course. WWJWBD, what would John Wilkes Booth do? And probably when he's looking in the mirror trying to act normal, and in his inner monologue you just hear, hey. And Michael Fassbender is just perfect for a character who is supposed to be emotionless and unreadable. And he does exhibit those qualities in his work, but the fun part about this film and following him and being with him in those quiet moments is that the entire moral dilemma is planted right on his face. And it's still subtle, but it makes him sparsely likable and even relatable despite his actions. All of the performances in this film are fucking great. Shout out Carrie O'Malley, Charles Parnell, Arliss Howard. All of them have very small roles, but make the most of it. Tilda Swinton, though, is the one who threatens to take the spotlight away, even from Michael Fassbender. I absolutely loved the role that she played in this. She has this great bit about a grizzly bear that's a metaphor for life, or specifically how he is going through life. That's just phenomenal stuff. I compared this film to The Green Knight in my tweet about it, and it also reminded me of Thief and John Wick for obvious reasons, but I hope I wasn't misleading people, though I do stand by it, and the reason that I said it is that this falls into the structure of being a character study about a man who's on a quest of sorts for self-interested reasons, that's examining his faults, his masculinity, and it's broken out into chapters, The Killer is, and they're labeled, there are 5 of them, and in each chapter he encounters a different person or challenge that teaches him something or reveals something about the themes. Just as in The Green Knight, I don't know why it was specifically that movie that I thought of. You could say The Princess Bride. I feel like it's often associated with fantasy, and you could even draw comparisons to video games in that way. But in Florida, he encounters the Brute. It's a physical battle. Once he encounters Tilda Swinton, he's met his intellectual match. And speaking of the Brute, man, This film knows how to do tension in a way that I've been missing in movies lately, particularly the first getaway scene after he misses. Even the second time that I saw it in theaters, I was sweating because this is not Mission Impossible. It's not played for spectacle. There's no running and intense music. It feels very grounded, but what makes the whole thing is the sound design and the score by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. Oh my god. It's on Spotify now. It's so good. I can't stop listening to it. It's good working music and feel cool while you're on a walk music. But the score is so restrained in these sequences that it feels like even the movie is holding its breath and really brings you in to his experience. And the other really notable scene is a fight scene, and if you've seen it, you immediately know which one I'm talking about. One of my favorite scenes of the year, period. And a lot of people were talking about how dark it is when the film first came out, but it's one of the exceptions where that actually is intentional and it actually kind of enhances what's going on. They somehow created a fight scene unlike anything I've seen before. You're not only disoriented because it's so dark, but the score is like this pulsating, I don't even know, it's like if tar was synth music and they hammer down on the bones cracking and just the sheer force of this giant guy he's fighting. It is fucking awesome. The kills in this film in general are staged so uniquely and jarringly and just brilliantly because for him, it's all mundane, but at the point of impact, they utilize the editing and sound design to just punch you in the gut. Whether it's hearts stopping or bones crunching, this film has its fair share of brutality, no over-the-top spectacle required. Its absence is actually the point, and again, the mundanity of this violence. We're forced into this system where you're rewarded for squandering your own humanity and empathic tendencies. Not even just rewarded, sometimes it's the only way to survive. That's what this film is tackling on a larger scale, but there are so many things that we could apply it to. I mean, it's really interesting that Fincher is interrogating this hardened assassin trope and turning it into something greater. If we view his job as an assassin as his art, it's volatile. A lot of people have been talking about this as a self-insert film for Fincher. Is it him reflecting on his career and being a filmmaker in the 21st century? And those two lenses converge with how much product placement there is in this movie. It might get some eye rolls because yes, it is a Netflix movie, but it doesn't feel so bad when the filmmaker is using it to his advantage to reinforce this setting of consumer culture and again, the gig economy. We see him sneaking in behind Postmates and ordering murder tools to Amazon drop boxes. I have wanted a McMuffin so bad since I saw this movie, and I've managed to resist, but I don't know how much longer I can do it. So there are just so many things I loved about this film. It is a cool as hell movie. It rocks, it rules. I will say that I don't think it's perfect. I think there are some parts of it that are more tedious than others, and I also think, I don't know, there's a debate to be had about how... But it could also be the point, adding to the commentary that we don't learn much about her. It's just his masculinity taking control and him going on this rampage. But the positives far outweigh the negatives. I think it's a brilliant and very on-brand addition to David Fincher's filmography. I'm going to give The Killer 4 out of 5 stars. This is one of those movies where I get such a little fixation with it that I'm like, how the hell am I only gonna give it 4 out of 5 stars? But I think that's accurate for now. I don't think it's a perfect movie, but you know you're a good director when people are saying it's not one of your best just because it's not a 5 out of 5 star movie. And not for nothing, give it a Best Original Score Oscar nomination, give it cinematography, give it Best Director, give it Best Adapted Screenplay. I don't care. I'm gonna go watch it again. But those are my thoughts on The Killer, guys. Let me know if you plan on watching this one, what you thought of it, if you've already seen it. Don't forget to like and subscribe and keep an eye out for more videos soon. Thanks for watching.